You ready to go home? Wanna go home to mom? No, 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 watch out. Beep, 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 beep. Move, move. In the previous video, we got our 31s mounted, put them on the Cherokee, and well, unfortunately, they just don't fit. So in this video, we're gonna finally get around to some of my projects. You know, we got this Cherokee months ago and haven't really touched it. It is about time to put this thing through its first stage, which is going to be a budget-friendly lift. Clearly some 31s, we're gonna take it wheeling and start having fun with it, and then go from there. Some of them are knockoffs. I mean, these are all very, very cheap upgrades. We got Pro Comp shocks, generic brake lines, adjustable spacers, shackles, and add-a-leafs. All of this is very budget friendly and should be pretty easy to install in the Cherokee. I'm gonna pull it in, get it up on the lift, and go see if Cassie and the kids wanna come up and help tag along on this project. Well, that was a hard no. It's Saturday, so I don't blame them. But what we're gonna start doing is removing all of the factory components. Sometimes it's easier to actually do this on the ground opposed to in the air because we're gonna have to support the axle because we're gonna have to drop the suspension out, remove our sway bar end link, the shock absorber, loosen our brake lines so we don't tear that off, just so we can lower this down enough to remove our coil spring to get our new spacer installed. I almost forgot that Cherokees and TJs actually have a coil spring retainer right there behind the shock. Holds the coil spring on the axle. It's pretty neat because on JKs, they don't have that. It's an upgrade that you actually have to do yourself. And at this point, we should be able to just push the axle down enough to lift up and pull out our coil spring. I don't want to ramble on too much about springs and lift kits and whatnot because there's already a lot of information out there, but the only way to gain height in regards to a suspension system is going to be making this spring taller or increasing the spring rate, which means it's harder to compress. Taller spring is kind of what we're looking for. A heavier spring rate is gonna make the ride stiffer unless we've added a ton of weight with a big steel bumper, a winch, or a V8 swap. Now to keep it budget friendly, we're keeping the springs, we're just adding a spacer. So you've probably seen this before. Originally, they were made by JKS, the adjustable coilover spacer, ACOS. Pretty much lets us adjust the height between the top of the spring pad and where the spring's gonna sit, giving us adjustable amount of lift. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is a knockoff. Looks almost exactly the same, it just doesn't have the name. The best part about these is that they were only 85 bucks. I'll put all of this in the video description below in case you wanna check it out. This same adjustable spacer is gonna fit an XJ, TJ, LJ, ZJ, WJ, pretty much anything that shares the era of this style coil spring, these are gonna work. Now the only difference is that on Cherokees, we are gonna have to cut and then tap this lower portion of our bump stop mount so we can install this. On the TJs and other models, you can simply unscrew this and this will screw right on in. Here's the factory weld. Right here's probably the washer. So we're gonna cut right along this seam here. Pretty much it should look like this when you're done. That sounds pretty, yeah? Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to make a quick trip into town because I can't find my metric taps. We actually have to tap this hole down here to 10 by 1.5. I only have my standards. Let's go buy a tap. If you were a tap, where would you be? 63 in count. 63 is right. Tap is acquired and it's time to go back to the shop. Put a little bit of anti-seize on here. Now we can thread this up until it just hits the body. Throw our spring isolator on, the aluminum bump stop spacer, or bump stop assembly, thread it in. Adjusting this collar here, the further down we go, the more it's gonna lift the Jeep. Now we do have to keep in mind that we are going from this to, at a minimum, this. So we're automatically going to gain, right off the bat, probably about 1.5 inches of lift at a minimum. We're also gonna have to replace our sway bar links since we're lifting the Jeep. Once again, went with a knockoff of the JKS quick disconnects. The Cherokees and TJs, the sway bar nut on the axle is pressed in. Pop it on out of there. One side down, one more to go. Luckily, I think our brake lines are gonna be fine. We won't know until we flex it out. Just to speed things up, put the camera on a little time lapse and we're gonna knock out the passenger side. Well, last night I finished up the front end. I say finished. We just got everything installed. Now we do need to go back to the front and readjust everything. So since we did increase the height, we have to recenter the wheel well, which is gonna be done with our adjustable lowers. Our adjustable upper control arms are gonna fine tune our pinion angle and caster. And we also are gonna have to come back and adjust our track bar, which moves the axle left and right. So we can see this is sticking way out of the front fender and this side kind of barely poking out right there. So we need to lengthen our track bar to scoot the axle that way and wrap up everything in the front end. But it is time to move to the rear, which is leaf springs. And there's quite a few ways to lift a rig on leaf springs. You can use blocks, which give you a little more axle wrap. You can do an entire new leaf spring pack, which is, you know, a little more expensive. We have an add-a-leaf here, which is going to add to the leaf pack, giving us a little bit of height, but also increasing the spring rate, making the rear maybe a little bit stiffer. We're gonna find out. And finally, we have extended shackles with 2 different holes for different heights. So we're gonna start off with the add-a-leafs and then come in with the shackles if needed. I'm not sure how far we're gonna get on the rear. I'm actually heading down to South Padre tonight. So hopefully we'll finish this up because it would be nice to leave Cassie with a Jeep that she could drive instead of just sitting here in the shop for about a week. But when it's up on the lift, you can actually tell how much droop we gained. And I am happy with that because everything looks like it's gonna work. We're not shooting for a crazy rock crawler here, but something that still has some good articulation, flex, down travel, and still have up travel to go fast. So let's go ahead and get the Jeep up in the air, pull the back tires off, and start messing around with the leaf springs. One nut, 2 nuts, 3 nuts, 4 nuts. This thing's about to round off instantly. There we go. Yeah, it's already, I'm pretty sure that rounded it. There's a few ways to do this next part. You can either lower the axle, you can kind of jack the leaf spring up, whatever you want to do. But if you're gonna drop the axle, got to make sure it's supported and then pop off the shock and then slowly lower it down. There's only one clamp that we have to cut. It's the most forward one. We have to do that because this leaf actually needs to go on top of this one. I am liking that, but the time crunch is real now. I gotta go pack. I'm gonna try to knock out this side and then we're gonna have to bounce and then we will come back and hopefully take the Cherokee for a test drive after we kind of wrap it all up, finish her up, put her together. And then once I'm back in Oklahoma, then we'll go take her out for a spin. Now that I'm back, all we have left to do to wrap this up is pretty much give this a quick shop alignment, center the axle, set our caster, set our toe, center the steering wheel, and we should be good to get this out of the shop finally. As you can tell, the Cherokee is ready to hit the road. Now, unfortunately, Cassie's not here, but my sister is. We have a special appearance.
Hello.
Bonnie Ertel. She's here hanging out for Halloween, and apparently we have to go and get stuff for Halloween at the grocery store. She's on a grocery list. I am on a test drive kind of mind state. It's looking really good. Everything is aligned. 1/8 inch of toe in, 7 degrees of caster. Everything's centered up. Can't we just go see how the ride quality is? Oh, we have like an actual shopping list, huh?
Yeah.
All right. This drives surprisingly well. Cass, we're in the Cherokee, and it drives surprisingly well. I'm going 50. Everything was just getting kind of worn out. I think it feels pretty good. Would you say? I mean, it is a little bit stiff in the rear, like on some of the bumps. It's driving pretty good. I think some heavy duty steering would be nice, but it reacts good. One thing I am curious about is the need for a slip yoke eliminator on this.
What are you doing?
Right there.
What is that? Are you doing that?
That's a driveline vibration. So at certain speeds, at certain throttles, if, you know, once you lift it, you have to get rid of that slip yoke and change your pinion angle to a double cardan so you can dial it in to avoid driveline vibrations. But that was crazy. I was just talking about that and then you heard it.
I thought you were doing it.
Either that or it's the pinion bearing going out, which I can't remember if you left here straight, so I always go straight. Oh, you feel that torque? You feel the chassis twist off the line? The whole 4 liters of greatness, yeah.
It's like what you drove in high school.
Yeah, I just had the older interior, but same engine.
What year was that?
That was a 93. It's like the interior got updated in 96 with this nice modern Chrysler look. The old Cherokee had the wood trim.
That's kind of cool.
And you had a storage pocket over there. And you would put stuff in, and I wouldn't let you put it in because it's my Jeep. Eliminate the slip yoke.
You gotta do that.
Eliminate it. Yesterday's test drive went pretty good, actually. We need to adjust the steering wheel just a little bit, but the only issue is our tires rub on the front bumper and the fender, so we just kind of chop those a little bit.
Don't forget you have to eliminate the slip yoke.
And we do have to do a slip yoke eliminator, but that's not happening in this video because we got to go buy parts at a drive shaft for that.
Lame.
But good news, it was cold this morning. It was the first time to wear the new JK Gear Gadgets long sleeve shirts. Bonnie's telling me to turn around.
Yes, model it for us.
All kinds of cool stuff, long sleeve, free shipping. Go check it out, new website, new stuff coming out, hat, whatnot. So thanks, Bonnie. In the meantime, I'm gonna have to get in here and we're gonna cut the front bumper. I just kind of mocked it up with tape, and on the inner fender liner as well as the fender down in the corner. This we're gonna have to get into the metal in there, but pretty much cut that corner so our 31s can fit in there nice. We might have to go in, adjust the control arms, but that right there looks like a professional Jeep Cherokee bumper cut if I've ever seen it. We started off with some big cuts. Now I'm going in with the flap disc and just taking away, like we can go all the way back to this pinch seam. This, as long as we don't get in to our fender hole down here, so that's as much as I'll go here. We can take this back, but in the end, that's way more than I need. I might take this down. We're in business. We just ran out of battery. These things have been pretty good. Icon lights, Harbor Freight, rechargeable. I'm hoping this cutting's gonna be enough, because any more than this, we really have to start cutting into the fender. But I'm just gonna do a few circles to make sure we got rid of that rubbing that was just turning induced. And then we'll flex it out and make sure flexing's good. All the way, lock to lock. Yep. Okay, full turn. Cool. Roll your window down. Yeah, she doesn't know how to drive. It's rubbing right there on the inner liner, just ahead. Put it in neutral. All right, you're in neutral?
Yeah.
Okay, pull the lever up to 4 high. Let your foot off the brake kinda, slowly. And you're gonna move it over and down to 4 low. And let it roll
Off the brake?
Yep. And just roll, push it off, yep. There you go, now see how it clicks? Yep. Now you put it in drive. And now you're just gonna move even slower. That you have more control, that's it. You're just putting your tire on this, yep. Yep, keep going, keep on. Keep on going, just keep going. Come on. All right, stop. So that's literally all we have. All right, you're good, get out of there. You get out of there. This is telling us nothing. I have to unhook the sway bars. So the tire's definitely fit for now. In the meantime, we gotta drop these puppies off at their correct home. So they showed up about 12 hours ago. These 2 good little boys. Put them here in Shadow's fence because they have collars. Clearly they're good dogs, but no contact info. Cassie posted online, and finally their owner shot her a message. They are like 5 or 6 miles away from home. They were very, very well behaved. Just didn't want them getting lost in the wilderness. Come on, let's go. Oh, you are muddy. Muddy boy. All right, I need y'all to scoot over. You ready to go home? Wanna go home to mom? No, 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 watch out. Beep, 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 beep. Move, 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 move the paws. Move, move the ball. Watch out, beep, beep. You guys made it some distance. Oh my goodness, that was about a 10-minute drive. Guys, you're home. Y'all perked up too. Pretty sure this is it. Oh, y'all have a nice home. Well, that's awkward, buddies. I don't think that was the right one. One street over, man, they had like security cameras and everything. Oh no, yeah, y'all are some farm dogs. Here we go. Y'all got work to do. What are y'all doing? Look, little donkey there. This is y'all's home. Y'all have work to do. They were out at our house just chilling. They're supposed to be at work on the farm here. Guys, y'all got work to do. This is the mama. Apparently they lost them like last night around 8 o'clock, and they made it over to our house. It's a lot of ground to cover, but they were happy to be home. They just wanted a break from the farm. I don't blame them. So the Cherokee is driving fantastic. The budget boost is done. The only thing that we would have to do at this point is either a slip yoke eliminator and a new drive shaft, or a transfer case drop, which loses ground clearance. So I'd like to throw a slip yoke eliminator on there with a nice new double cardan drive shaft. So other than that, this thing drives fantastic. It's super smooth, well-mannered. The 31s aren't too big. 410s would be perfect for this setup. But for now, I think all we need to focus on is get this thing drivable. We do need to replace the do a little bit of work. The exhaust manifold is cracked, so we're going to replace that at the same time, upgrade to a new intake manifold, the newer style, a little more efficient, and get this thing driving nice, make sure it's reliable, and then add some skid plates and some off-road protection before we hit the trails. Budget wise, I would think we do need to add this up and see what it costs, but I'm pretty sure it was under 400 bucks for this entire lift kit setup, plus the wheels and tires are pretty budget friendly as well. So in the video description, I will put a link to everything we've done to this Cherokee so far. Thanks for watching, guys. Like always, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I think the Cherokee is in a good place for now, so it's time to move on to the next project, which is probably going to be bringing the Gladiator back around in the shop and revisiting that for a little bit. We'll see you guys next week.